morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Pregame from the Pond, Madison Mallard Pregame Show. Derek Brizendine alongside Alec Dobb. And Alec, early morning after a great night.
Yeah, you said it there, Derek. I mean, the walk-off effort from the Mallards last night, it seems like we've been getting used to this kind of narrative from the Mallards this year. Getting down early to a really good Battle Creek, probably underrated Battle Creek club, but just the comebacks, just the tenacity, you could really say that the team played with last night was really something.
Well, and I mean, that's one thing Donnie Scott really pushes, is these guys never give up. He's never going to let them give up. And I was talking to Rich, the PA announcer, about it, and I was like, you know what? When we get into these close situations, I never feel nervous because you just never know what these guys are going to give you.
Yeah, that's great insight, first off, Derek, like you just mentioned. But, I actually talked to Donnie after the game last night, and he said that Jake Page turned to him after the grand slam by Battle Creek, and Jake Page turned to him and said, "We're going to win this game." And obviously they did it. A lot of things, countless number of things went into that win last night for the Mallards. But, like you said, and like we've been talking about, there's no quit in this club. I mean, we've seen it time and again.
Well, there's a back and forth game there for a little while. Never knew. And once you thought one team was down, they bounced back, and then you thought the other team was down. And that Battle Creek team, I think you're right. I think they are very underrated. Their radio announcer, I heard him talking to you, and he said, this is the best they've played all year long. And it's just hard to imagine that they're not playing this well all the time, because that was a pretty good-looking ball club we played.
Yeah, they didn't limit they limited their mistakes in the field, which is one thing that they actually mentioned was a big struggle for them throughout the season. And they have about 2 errors per game on average that the radio guys told us. That's unheard of. We've seen some sloppy play in the Northwoods League before, but that's to have that many, mistakes, I guess you could say, in the field is something to behold, honestly. But that's all in the past, and I think we really saw a really good, ball club play at Warner Park this weekend, and definitely a team to watch out for heading down the stretch, because they, there's limited time here left in the season, but they're 3-8, and they could go on a tear starting tomorrow. You never know.
The great thing is that everybody now has their full-time players. We're no longer with temp players who aren't the guys you've been waiting for all along. Now you've got the guys that you've been expecting from the top programs in the country, and some even around the world, as we saw with Battle Creek, So really it is anybody's game here on out.
Yeah, and, as far as the full-time guys and, some of the switches that they have with the roster, I think, we saw a lot of that. We've been seeing a lot of that this year with Ro Coleman. Had a huge game. I think he had 3 hits last night. He works the count effectively, gets on base. Extremely valuable guy to have in the lineup. And, everyone else, I think that they provided some type of value to the Mallards, and then everyone else really contributed. So,
we are talking about temporary players, and Gene Ramirez there for a while at the beginning of the season. He was a temporary player, but if we'd have lost his bat, that'd have been a big bat to lose, because as he showed last night, he's a huge contributor to this team.
Yeah, absolutely, Derek. Donnie really likes his work behind the plate. He throws out a lot of guys, and it's been a treat to watch him, go to work behind the plate especially. But I don't think we give enough credit to what Gene has been able to do this year. He came into the season as kind of an underrated guy. Not the best season with Illinois State at the plate, for sure. But, he's shown a lot of power, and you can see it kind of in batting practice even, to be honest. The guy can hit for power, and that's a big reason why he's batting, in the 3-hole for basically the majority of his games so far. And, for him to go the opposite way with that home run last night was really impressive, because it's really just, this guy is really deserving of that full-time role for the Mallards.
And, you thought that was the nail in the coffin there. The Mallards had put it away, and you thought, man, we're going to go home. It's going to be great. And then Battle Creek, they showed no quit, and with 2 strikes, hit an absolute blast out of the park.
Yeah, you said it right there. That's exactly what happened. They wouldn't have been in that position had Vince Arobio, who was on the mound at the time for the Mallards, he had a rough start, and they wouldn't have been in that position had he not walked a batter and hit a batter, which is pretty uncharacteristic for Vince. But, he struggles with command at times, but put that in the past because he's going to move forward.
Another guy I want to highlight here from last night, Jason Goldstein. 2 nights ago, he was brought in to pinch hit to possibly, give the Mallards that one run they needed to tie the game up there in the 9th. And he got out. And it's very easy for a player like that to just throw it in the next day and, let that linger in your mind. But he put that behind him, and that was a great piece of hitting he had there.
Yeah, late in the ball game tonight, or last night rather. Jason with that single over the shortstop's head, with Cameron Frost coming around to score that tying run to extend the ball game. But Jason, I think you can kind of see it when he's at the plate. He has control. I think he got down 0-2 in the count, probably his first 3 at bats of last night. And he battled back to, at least to the full count in at least 2 of those. I mean, to fall back 0-2 in the Northwoods League and, to battle back and, to put that behind you, I think is what you kind of just mentioned. And then just forget about it. And tonight or last night, he just came up big and, that's part of the game of baseball. There's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, but you got to stick through it. And we really have seen that from Jason this year.
And Jason's one of those guys that's a returner. Came back from that championship team. So he's really been one of those leaders. And around the park, you kind of see that. He carries himself in a different demeanor than the rest of the guys. He carries himself as a leader, as one of the guys that is going to say, hey, I'm going to lead this team, and I'm gonna get the job done. And if I don't, I'm going to give it next time. And I'm going to get it. And I'm not going to worry about it.
Absolutely. I mean, Donnie has just raved about what he's brought to the ball club. Talent-wise, obviously he's there. Had an unbelievable season with Fighting Illini this spring. A 17th round draft pick from the Dodgers. He didn't sign, obviously. He's with the Mallards now. But you have to figure he's going in the top 10 rounds next year because, this guy brings a great premium glove and arm behind the plate and just the veteran presence of mind to, put those things behind him and just move forward. And I think it's really helped this Mallards ball club so far.
And that's a great thing about baseball in general is that while there are so many draft picks and, so many people get drafted, if you get drafted, then you at least know you have the talent, but now you know you can improve. And I think that's what all these guys are doing out here. We even saw guys last night step up to the plate that have been struggling throughout the game. And the guy that hit the walk-off, J.J. Gould, he went through a stretch there a couple weeks ago where he couldn't get the job done, but now it's like, man, if there's a situation, that's the guy I want up to bat.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think the guy's up in the middle of the infield for the Mallards. JJ, you just mentioned, he's got 3 home runs in his last 5 games now. This guy doesn't have a high profile for hitting for power. So to have a stretch like that for him is extremely impressive. And then Tony Butler, he's cooled off recently, but he's really come to life overall. Lately in the second half of the season for the Mallards, and it's tough. All these guys have great. We've seen multitude of guys, step up to the plate and be clutch in clutch moments, and you can't really say enough about what JJ's been able to do, power wise, especially this in the second half of the season.
And now, as we put last night behind us, as great as it was, we look forward to today. Big doubleheader against a lacrosse team who we've only seen one time.
Yeah, and actually, it was supposed to be a doubleheader with lacrosse earlier in the season, but the second one got rained out. The Mallards fell short in the first game in a slim game. They had a chance on the top of the 9th, rather, to come back in that game. They did not do that, but they put it behind them. And this is a lacrosse ball club that is right on our heels, right on the Mallards' heels. So, this doubleheader, it's going to be taxing on the players, the coaches, some of the people working at the ballpark, obviously. But, it's a big series, and they can't take anything lightly. And I don't think they will because, Donnie's really preached to keep the foot on the gas pedal, you could kind of say.
It's going to be a great day. We hope you enjoy, and thanks for tuning in.